Dung 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 dung, and here we are.
Drum roll.
All right, hello and welcome to another episode of 2030 Podcast, Facebook Live, YouTube stream, and Twitter Live. We are going across so many different platforms. I'm your host, Alan Sakian. Today, I am with my two brothers, Mahmoud, Zaini,
Hello.
and
Hi.
Omar, Dweller. Woo! All right, so today we will be discussing a topic that's very true to all of us. Pun.
Good one.
Yeah, and it's contemplating truth. We have been talking about this from so many variables and facets. We are very excited to share with you guys and hear your thoughts. Please do comment as we are going through, especially on Twitter and Facebook. We will be reading those comments and we'll try and address them as we go. So here we go. Let's start it all off. So as we contemplate truth, I think I listed this example because it's been so true in my life that I could not live today without Wikipedia.
Okay. Yeah, that's very true. But what kind of truth is that? That's
exactly.
It's like information.
Pretty.
Right?
It's information truth, but it's also pretty decentralized.
Yeah.
It's not very centralized. It's not one God figure curating the truth.
The Institute of Wikipedia,
Exactly.
it all.
But
they're experts.
The community, right, of
yeah.
people that can tweak it and it so beautiful. Because right now, imagine no Wikipedia. What would you do? You would go onto Google. You would search the person's name or the event's name or whatever you're looking up, and then you'd have to go through the 5 to 10 different sources to confirm what the information you're finding is true. They have already done that.
Yes.
And put it into an encyclopedia online, free. So donate to them. We use them all the time.
Yeah, not only that, I actually did, I had a class at California College of the Arts where we went on Wikipedia and edited some of the pages, and it was a very easy process. It was great, but it's not completely free and open. Like, they go through it. They review it, they check your citations, so it's not completely just an open, thing. No, it's actually very decentralized, but at the same time organized in a good way. So, yeah.
So that's as close as we've gotten to a kind of encyclopedia, free, online of truth.
Yes.
As much as we can. And I think that that's a pretty good platform for us in the future to try and make content that's something like that as we try and make maybe other truths in philosophy or education or healthcare or economics or politics or what have you.
Yeah, but how can we is the truth that you're talking about here in Wikipedia, is that the right word for it? Is it really truth, or is it just information
database?
A database. Is truth what we creatively think when we observe a lot of information and then extract from it, or is it merely? Of course, I have something to say about that, and we'll probably segue into something else. But tell us about the whole. Okay, we know that gravity is true, right?
Okay, but even just a second before we get into that, you're right that it's just a database, right? It's a database of information that we consider to be true. But for example, someone's date of birth logged in the hospital and then logged on the website, it's pretty true, right?
Yeah.
Objectively true, right?
Yeah.
So it's like it's just information that's subjective. So it's very as objective as possible.
As we can.
Because
we also trust the sources. We trust the sources,
exactly.
and that's a whole other line of... trust all the sources that led all the way to the person who checked, okay, the baby came out at this day, but relatively we do. Okay, so
yes,
that's good.
So now just the point about Wikipedia is it's fucking awesome. We use it all the time. It's as close to a book of truth as we have. So please go and donate to them. This podcast and video blog is sponsored by Wikipedia. No, we're just joking. But really though, like, we use it all the time. So let's be
factual truths.
As factual as we can. So that is factual truth. So we'll get to that in a little bit. So, and other things that we've discussed that we think are important to continue talking about are what other things have society decided as pretty objectively true? Because some things are concealed. For example, to the tribe of people that live on the Sentinelese people on that island that have never made contact with modern civilization. And they throw spears and stuff at humans when they try and come there. do they know that gravity is objectively true? Do they know that H2O is 2 parts hydrogen, 1 part oxygen? Do they know that?
Yeah, or do they know that, I don't know, something that has to do with plants, maybe that water flows maybe inside a tree from the bottom up, or any kind of truth,
or that the Holocaust happened,
or
right? Stuff like that.
like, or any kind of historical truth or historical problem that may have occurred. Do they know about it, and how much does that affect their way of being or living, or and this is a very interesting thing. I think we can actually go into this topic. If anybody knows about this German philosopher, his name is Martin Heidegger. Martin Heidegger wrote very interesting stuff about truth, about what is truthful, and he had 2 ideas, or he split truth into 2 different segments. One segment, or one kind of truth, is the truth of correspondence, or the truth of confirmation. Is like,
look at this.
That's a microphone,
This right here.
It's a piece of metal for those islanders.
Yeah, and you tell
piece
me
of metal for them.
They wouldn't know.
If
Even our phones, it's a brick.
Yeah.
Who would have thought you could talk through a brick to a person on the other side of the world?
Exactly.
If we talked about it 100 years ago, that would be complete fantasy.
Yeah, and it's there, And so when I look, if I'm not looking, you tell me there's that brick or whatever, and I look, it's there. That's one kind of truth.
That's one truth.
Yeah,
one truth is called correspondence.
Yeah.
Okay.
Affirmation, or
honesty, confirming.
Yes.
That your hat is red.
Yes.
My sweater is gray.
Yes.
This is we're sitting in front of a table.
That
on a
kid
couch.
you talked about was born on that day and is on Wikipedia.
Exactly.
So that's factual.
Okay.
But then there's another kind of truth, and the other kind of truth is called aletheia, and aletheia is unconcealment or unveiling. And unconcealment or unveiling is a different kind of truth. It's a new intelligible faculty, or a new intelligible thing. For example, like gravity, or
when we uncovered it. So it was, for example, it was concealed, and it was Newton that had the apple drop on the head, and then that's when it was like, aha. So it was concealed. So in the case of the Sentinelese people, gravity might still be concealed for them.
Yes.
And so this is called the unveiling the truth of, like Heidegger called it, aletheia.
Yeah. And this kind of unveilment, he also gave a really cool analogy to it. It's like walking in a forest, and you're in the middle of this like really dense forest, and you reach this opening, and it's like, oh, it's a new area. It is an unveilment, It's not merely that someone told you there's a brick, and then you looked and you confirmed that there's a brick. It's almost like you found out a new concept, like cubism, for example. Or
your mind gets expanded to new dimensions, and then it can never revert back to the old dimensions.
Or for example, Campbell's idea about mythology, and like the hero's journey, like that's a unveiling of a concept that people, it was there maybe, but that when we codified it creatively, a new kind of truth appeared,
And there's so many truths that are still needing to be unveiled today. For example, we don't understand quarks that well. We don't understand quantum mechanics that well. We don't understand black holes and wormholes. So what we can basically say, because we haven't actually touched them, not tangible, we haven't seen them, that kind of stuff, we can say about those things is that they still are veiled. They're still covered. We have to still uncover those truths.
But interestingly, Heidegger wrote a book called The Question Concerning Technology, and in that book, he said that technology and the tools that we have adopted in order to find those truths is now concealing those truths.
It's a really good point.
Yeah, it's now concealing our creativity. And I think all can relate, when we're always on
because we're becoming dependent kind of on it. Like I used to memorize my phone book, my friend's number, my family's numbers, all of them. But right now I can't even memorize my phone number because guess what? I can save up to 1,000, 10,000 phone numbers. Why do I need to occupy my mind with numbers?
Exactly.
I don't need it.
Exactly.
And I even used to remember plates on the streets. For some reason, I find someone that's interesting. And
that's my boy there.
A few months later, I would meet him. Oh, that's him. Oh, hey, what's up? But now I don't even know my car plate.
Yeah, and so technology, according to Heidegger, conceals from us the creative ability to uncover or unconceal from existence or being, and understand being more on a more fundamental conceptual level. But yeah, and of course, he was saying that the reason why is that there's this process called gestalt, or inframing, or standardization. And what that is that technology, let's say I was walking, found a tree, cut the tree, I got a little piece of wood, and then I got a rock and I made a little hammer. And then I started, cutting into, I don't know, trees or cutting into rocks. And while I was doing that, I started realizing that, oh, there's this kind of rock and there's this kind of rock. And then I started making science.
Yeah.
Because I started standardizing, I started inframing, putting things into a table, with like categorization.
Mm-hmm.
But then eventually, the more you do that, the more you're going to have a standing reserve, or like, like you put things in a reserve. It's like trying to get, a lot of, what do you call it, like oil or something, And the more you have a standing reserve of all that stuff starts to accumulate, and in its accumulation, it will uncover, like all the standardization that's happened will start to impede on your creative process, and eventually, with the prospect of AI, it will have its own brain, and standardize you.
So to summarize, is that when we start sorting things with language, and when we start putting them, categorizing them into certain areas of the sciences, or in history, we start using these technological tools like computers, we are so limited. We today can't even envision a different computer than what we use today. Really. Yeah. We're barely now starting to think, well, what if we could put the chip in our brain and then just think the thought?
iPhone 11, that's the furthest I can go to.
so that idea of not allowing our tools, enabling them to simultaneously enable us to categorize and put into categories that we think can progress us as humans, but also not limit us creatively. That is the philosophical point that Heidegger brought up with this, and that's a really great point about truth. And
he was a romantic, Heidegger. He loved being in the woods. He loved nature. He didn't like processed foods. He's like us. He's like he belongs in SF.
He belongs in San Francisco. We should get him some vegan food.
We'll take him to Whole Foods.
We'll take him to Whole Foods, and then we'll take him to Mount Tam.
Shasta.
And maybe we'll mention this a little bit here, is that with what we just brought up, let's go ahead and say, let's say there's scientific truth, there's artistic truth, and there's spiritual truth.
Okay.
A lot of the time we see scientists especially get stuck in scientific truth.
Technology.
And just the microscope and just the periodic table, and it's hard to creatively think outside those boxes that are there already. So it's important for scientists to bridge into the categories of art and spirituality and the other ones that we're not listing, in order for them to see how things are intertwined.
Yes.
Same thing with like societal dynamics of how people live on the planet, and economics and politics, like understanding those better, and education, healthcare, etc.
Overcoming diseases of the soul of all kinds.
Yes.
These are things that are...
we will jump there quickly. Saying one more point before we do is that artists, when on the other hand, they can achieve more potentially by understanding part of the sciences or parts of the spirituality. They could also achieve more. Very spiritual people could understand more by jumping into a little more of the sciences and a little more of the arts as well.
Yes.
So it's really
to have
important.
a more holistic truth instead of a very unidimensional.
Yes.
Like, I'm in this. I'm an artist. I'm gonna make this thing that no
Or
one gets.
I don't care about math. Why do I need to use my mind?
Yeah, I don't want to
calculate stuff.
Yep.
That's the thing in
I'm
our
not going to
school.
use perspective. I'm going to just, like...
Yep. So that's that
true.
point. That's that point. Now, Heidegger also taught us about the diseases of the soul. Now, this is because we forget about the truth. And one of the ways that is most truthful to us is René Descartes. I think, therefore I am. So you have this consciousness inside your flesh vehicle. So you can at least know one thing's true.
Yeah.
And that's that your soul, this thing that's thinking, is you at least.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. We don't know if it's a brain in a vat or if it's an actual person. We don't know. But we know it's thinking and etc. So it's so important. His first disease of the soul was that we have forgotten to notice that we are alive.
Yeah. It's again, it goes back to the concealing that technology does of like putting you in, not just technology, even social life in general, being so, he calls it the chatter. you're too in the chatter and you're too busy and you're working and you forget to sit down and actually reflect, dude, I'm alive, you know? Like,
Yes.
and all these people died, and, you know, and we can actually, I should be creative to lift up everybody and to lift people around me and myself, of course. And so yeah, he says one of our diseases is that we forget that we are alive.
And it makes us easier for us to remember we are alive when we go to a walk in the woods.
Yeah,
With no cell phone.
I know you're a big hiker.
No computers, no stress. Drop all the to-do list at home and just go and observe nature.
Yes.
Go walk through.
Even if you don't have time for a hike, remember you're breathing.
Yeah,
We're doing that as we are talking. We take it for granted when someone tells you, take a deep breath. It's all about focusing. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm breathing.
And
I'm inhaling oxygen, exhaling CO2.
Yeah.
That's something we take for granted.
It's the first part or the first step in almost all meditations as well. You know, is to focus on your breath.
Internalize.
And a lot of people can, man. Like you would, like your mind is like, oh, what I have to do tomorrow, what I would do.
Yeah.
But yeah,
We're caught up.
that's one thing of
You're right. Even you don't even need to get in the vehicle and go to the nature. You can literally right now where you're sitting just focus on the breath.
We're not gonna go that far as
but
Bay
it's
Area.
But it's so true.
No,
it's so true.
It's
And
true.
it'll make you feel more alive if you remember that your
No,
lungs are currently keeping you alive with those
Correct.
inhales and the heart pumping for you and everything.
Correct.
And second disease of the soul. Wait, let's read this comment quick. Richard Goss. Once you get used to looking at things one way, it gets more difficult to see them from a different perspective. Yes, great
Yes,
point.
yes.
So it's up to us to stretch ourselves into those other perspectives and then to bring other people that know, okay, Omar knows this thing that I don't know about this other subject, so I'm going to bring him into my life and help and ask him questions and learn from him about that thing that he knows so that I can expand my mind to them.
From different cultures, from
Different
religions,
cultures is really great.
Yeah.
Spirituality is a phenomenon that takes place only in consciousness.
Once we realize we're all
Do
one.
yoga all the time. Yeah. Once we realize we're all one. Yeah. Once the ego finally gets quelled and dwelled to a point of no ego, and you to be able to experience the highest of ego to the no ego and everything in between is really important to do in life, because once you do get the we are one, the not only 7.5 billion humans are all one in with the animals and the plants and the whole biosphere of the collective earth, that we are one here, that makes a profound impact on your life that never goes away.
And that was actually the second point that Heidegger brought up, that we
Yes.
are all connected, and that you should understand that the ladybug outside is connected to you in some way, even if it's very distant, but there is a connection.
And the bee is way more connected to us than we think it is, right? So even that.
Yeah, exactly. And so he calls it unity of being, unity of Dasein. Dasein was the word he uses for being, and it's a very good point.
It is. And so the two diseases so far is we have forgotten to notice we are alive. The second is we have forgotten that all being is connected. Okay?
Yes.
And remember, the connected is not just like the bees that are pollinating and then us consuming the crops that they are, but it also spans to these people and how they are literally impacting me in the way I think right now, that we're connected in that sense.
Yeah.
Yes, that the brothers and sisters that are currently suffering in the refugee camps of the world, we're connected to them as well. We're even connected to the sharks and the turtles that have swam in the oceans for hundreds of millions of years.
Yes.
We're still connected to them.
If we are scientists and we believe in causation, then we should believe in that as well. You know, we should believe that everything causes everything, and these are all linked. And we should understand that.
And so then the third one is that we have forgotten to be free and live for ourselves. This one is fascinating.
Yeah.
We basically, once you're birthed into the world, there's no place on the planet where you can be birthed into no culture, no society.
Yes.
If you're birthed into no culture and no society, I have no idea what that kid would look like.
Mowgli.
Tarzan, you know, or something. I don't know. Yeah, no, it won't. Like we are social animals, like Aristotle said. You know, and we need our social structure in our communities in order to be human. And to know morality, and to know ethics, and to know science, and to work hard and stuff like that. But he was saying that sometimes, again, back to forgetting being, the concealing of being, you may forget that you are you, you know? And you get too lost in that chatter, and when you're lost in that chatter, you can't produce, or you can't actually be authentic. That's what he says, you have to be authentic. And authentic is understanding your separateness from sociability. Not completely. Don't go and become an introvert. No, we're not saying that. Just understand that. Have it in your mind. That will make you more authentic as a person and hopefully more creative and a genius that goes against technology. No.
Follow your bliss, as Campbell says.
Follow your bliss.
Beautiful.
Whatever that is.
Yeah,
Some
exactly.
people have, they're good with talking, others are good with numbers.
Yeah.
That's part
Yeah.
of a bliss.
True.
Follow it and expand on it. Don't be closed-minded and just keep your options open.
Yeah. And those words, follow your bliss, that is related to the top of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, is the self-actualization. After you have the bottom, the physiology and the love and the food and the safety all covered, then you can achieve that bliss. That what is that thing for you? What is your essence? What is your thing that gets you out of bed in the morning? What kind of contribution do you want to bring? Well, we just posted a quote today by Horseman: "Be ashamed to die until you have won some sort of victory for humanity." So that in itself will get you free and living for yourself as well as for humanity together. Now, don't succumb to the constant distractions that exist in the world today. The temptations. It's okay. Nobody's saying never access them, but we're saying intelligently access them, while also intelligently building the things. Focus on building that bliss for you into the world.
Yes.
Okay, another thing that Heidegger said was that this is pretty cool. A way for us, one of the best ways for us to feel most alive is for us to pass time in graveyards. Help us be alive and realize what that feels like. I know that when I walk through graveyards, that I'm literally thinking about what those people's lives were like, how they lived, what their regrets were that they didn't get to achieve, what ideas died with them. People say that the richest place in the world is the graveyard because people didn't execute those ideas into the world.
Yeah. It's loved ones, passing loved ones, who have passed away. Again, it takes you back to you're alive, Appreciate that and remember that it flees, Don't be distracted too much with all this, It's not there for a lot of people anymore. You know what I mean? So it's good. It's a good exercise, and Heidegger was pretty keen on exposing that. That's great. That's good.
He was. He's very influential. And then we kind of want to touch on one other point about this sort of boxes and the compartmentalizing, constrainings that we do with language. And in the United States especially, for example, Heidegger